Hey, it's Luke here from LT Gaming, and today we're heading back to the vast blue of the Pacific, where every decision can mean the difference between victory and a watery grave. Task Force Admiral Volume 1 American Carrier Battles, to give it its full name, has been in development for a long time. But now we finally have confirmation that it's setting sail for early access in Q1 2026. That's right, the long-awaited return of true carrier command simulation finally has a release window, and we're very excited about it. And with MicroProse at the helm, that's news worth diving into. I've been keeping an eye on this one for a while. I've had access to the beta for quite some time, and it's shaping up to be something really special for naval sim and wargame fans. So before we break radio silence and launch our first strike, hit that like button like a well-timed dive bomber. It helps the channel out massively and keeps these deep dive features coming. Okay, enough of the intro, let's dive into it. Task Force Admiral puts you in command of an American carrier task force during the early battles of 1942, when the fate of the Pacific depended on reconnaissance, timing and courage under fire. You're not a pilot here, you're the admiral running a coordinated fleet of carriers, escorts and aircraft while trying to outthink an enemy you can barely see. It's all about information, or rather the lack of it. You'll be sending out patrols, analysing scattered contact reports and deciding whether to commit your air groups to a strike that could win or lose the battle. The game recreates the command experience from the flag plot, basically your operations room where radar pings, uncertain messages and frantic updates from scouts all come together to form a foggy picture of the war at sea. From a technical standpoint, this is one of the most impressive naval simulations around. It blends the methodical pacing of a wargame with full 3D visualization, dynamic weather systems and accurate ship and aircraft models. Wind affects carrier operations, clouds and storms conceal enemy forces, and each battle plays out in pausable real time, letting you zoom from tactical map right down to the chaos on deck. And of course it's historically grounded. Every aircraft carrier and destroyer has been meticulously researched, complete with accurate loadouts, markings and performance data. You can run both historical and hypothetical scenarios through the built-in battle generator, making it as much a digital sandbox for armchair admirals as it is a game. What really sets Task Force Admiral apart is how it captures the essence of carrier warfare, basically the hunt. This is not about having the biggest guns or fastest ships, it's about spotting the enemy first and striking before they ever know you're there. Every battle begins with tension. You'll dispatch your scout planes into the unknown, watching the clock as they vanish into clouds and open ocean. When a transmission finally comes through, enemy carrier sighted, bearing 240, your entire operation pivots. You can practically feel the nerves as you plan your counter-strike. And I had a little chuckle to myself there, because often this went drastically wrong for me. You end up having to pick which squadrons to use and when to launch them, hoping to hit before they can retaliate. Because you're operating with incomplete information, every report feels alive. Sometimes scouts get it wrong, sometimes they miss the target completely. Then other times when it all lines up, you catch the enemy fleet broadside, unleashing a perfectly timed strike that flips the entire battle in your favour. It's an experience to say the least that feels both authentic and deeply satisfying, the thrill of turning chaos into command. It's this focus on intelligence, initiative and the psychology of command that makes Task Force Admiral so exciting. Where most strategy games reward aggression, this one rewards patience, timing and the courage to commit when you finally have the upper hand. After years of anticipation, Task Force Admiral now has a firm heading: early access in Q1 2026. The developer Drydock Dreams Games and publisher MicroProse have confirmed that this first volume will focus on the American side of the Pacific War, with later volumes potentially exploring other perspectives and theatres. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button, because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. The early access release will deliver the core experience, the realistic carrier operations, reconnaissance systems and flagship scenarios, while gradually expanding through updates and community feedback. I know a lot of you are burnt out on early access titles, but like Sea Power, I think this is a worthy one to consider. The sort of game you can really get your teeth into as a wargamer, and look, I'm going to enjoy shaping the feedback on this one also. It's a promising naval wargame, and I'm just able to give it a little bit more leeway because of that. But I also understand if early access is not for you at this stage, just wait for the full product and keep an eye on it as it develops. I think I've hinted at this before, but I do enjoy the development process of being involved in early access titles, but a lot of people, you have to balance it with cost and what you're going to get out of it also. And many people want to consider, will the project actually be delivered? It's kind of the ethical thing at this stage. I do think these guys have a strong team and a great publisher, and it's going to happen. I'll just keep chanting to myself, Task Force Admiral is going to happen, it's going to happen. I've gone a bit mad, and we'll move on. Like I said, the team has been transparent that this phase will help refine features, fulfill backer pledges, and balance the sheer depth of the simulation before full release. My only concern there is that they're doing this because of their Kickstarter pledges, so that is a little bit of a concern to weigh at the back of your mind. Look, overall, this is a smart and sustainable approach. Build the foundation first, polish through iterations, and let the wargaming community shape the finer details. And honestly, having played this project over the last few days again, it's such a joy. I think everyone just wants to get their hands on some version of it. However, like any ambitious simulation, Task Force Admiral still has some rough seas ahead. Some early demos and internal previews were limited in scope, featuring single missions or reduced AI complexity. It's not yet clear how accessible the interface will be to newcomers, and with its emphasis on realism, there's a risk that the learning curve could be steep for players used to more action-driven experiences like War on the Sea. Now, I will say, this week I kind of threw myself back into it, and it definitely has a learning curve. I watched a really great tutorial on YouTube, and I'll link that below. It really did help me understand the game's mechanics and capture some great footage. But if every game did things in a similar fashion, wouldn't we get bored? And I think the way this game handles like the loss of contact, not being able to see all your fighters at the same time, it's absolutely brilliant. It's part of its strength. Look, I went to bed last night having played a few hours, didn't do that well, and I thought about it, woke up in the morning and needed to play again. That's such a great sign. I think the unique mechanics in this game are a fair trade-off for ambition. The developer's vision is clear: to create the ultimate real-time carrier command sim, and early access gives them the space to make that vision work. To put it simply, there's nothing else quite like this game on the horizon. War on the Sea gave us the excitement of watching ships trade blows, but Task Force Admiral goes deeper, capturing the invisible chess match that happens before a single shot is fired. And of course, there was Sea Power from last year, a game I'd really like to revisit to see how far it's come. I must do that this year, before the year ends. This game also draws from the legacy of classic MicroProse titles, games like Silent Service and Harpoon, but modernises that DNA with stunning 3D presentation and more human decision making. Compared to grand strategy games like Hearts of Iron 4, this one zooms in on the human scale, the stress, the uncertainty, and the weight of command. And where Command Modern Operations gives you an ultra-modern sandbox of systems and sensors, Task Force Admiral delivers the same tension through analog means. Binoculars, radio calls, and raw intuition. It's wargaming stripped down to its most human core. And having played a lot of Command Modern Operations, this feels totally different, and I dig it. I've always wanted to use the word dig in that context ever since I saw the film The Warriors. If you know that film, drop a comment below. How I managed to draw a correlation between Task Force Admiral and the film The Warriors, I don't really know. So that's Task Force Admiral Volume 1 American Carrier Battles, a return to the golden age of naval strategy, where the war is won not by firepower alone, but nerve, foresight, and timing. With its early access release now confirmed for Q1 2026, the horizon's finally in sight. And this could easily be one of the standout wargame launches of next year, and we really do need some good ones in the pipeline. If you enjoyed this deep dive, drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you still play the old MicroProse classics, or are you looking for the next generation of naval sims? We've covered everything on this channel, from War on the Sea to Sea Power, and this one feels like the natural evolution of that lineage. Until next time, I've been Luke. Take care, and remember, in carrier warfare, the first to spot is the first to strike.